Hello, welcome to White Door Tarot, where the reader is bubbly, but the readings can get dark. So today I am doing another Nandi Speaks because I have love on the brain. I was thinking about how people tend to do love rather than be in it or be it. I was watching this video the other day. It was like one of those Facebook reels. I was just doom scrolling basically. And I saw this video where they had like these groups of people do like real life Tinder where they had to swipe left or right in front of each other. And it was so peculiar. So these people, I would see them look at each other and then there would be like a spark. Like there would be something in their eyes for a minute there where they're just like, ooh. But then it would kind of fade into like a fear, nervous kind of thing as the countdown kept going and they would have to swipe left or right and they would kind of look at each other like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then they would all just swipe left, as in no. And there was one girl that swiped right, and the guy swiped left. And as soon as he saw that she swiped right, he was like, oh, well, if I knew that you were going to swipe right, I would have swiped right too. Coward. That's the thing, is that people are so afraid of rejection, so afraid of rejection that they don't actually go for what they want. They go for whatever is easy. They settle for whatever is easy. And that's no way to live, is it? Because that stems from fear. That stems from insecurity. That stems from a lack of self confidence. To be more concerned with whether or not the other person wants you than whether or not you want them. Because being desired puts you in a place of power. It's about power. People want to be the one holding the power. They want to be the one that has the trigger. And that's because they're afraid of getting hurt. And then we go into an even deeper fear because it's a fear of the inevitable. I always say this, we cannot choose whether or not we suffer, but we can choose what we suffer for. People seem to think that if they leave first, then it'll hurt less. People seem to think that if they just don't let themselves get too attached, then it'll hurt less. That doesn't show any concern for their fellow man. That doesn't show any sort of value of the connection. It turns it into a game. It's a power struggle. People, they talk about how bad they want love, but then when they have it, they treat it like it's disposable. Because, for example, if you got a car, if you worked really hard to buy a car and it got a ding in it or the paint chipped or something, would you throw away the whole car? No, because you understand the value of a vehicle. But people do that with relationships. They do that with people. The second there's a ding in it, the second there's a chip in the paint, they throw it away because now it's not perfect anymore. Honeymoon phase is over. Now you see them, you see their flaws, they see you, they see your flaws, you're embarrassed, and then they throw the whole thing away. People don't know how to repair. You can't fall in love while still being so afraid of getting hurt. It is inevitable that you will get hurt in one way or another, whether it be from rejection, whether it be from difficult conversations with that person as you build your relationship together, as you learn one another. There will be difficulties and they will hurt. Or whether it be the end, where one of you dies. You can't walk this earth afraid of getting hurt. And then we get into the topic of courage. What is courage? Being chronically ill, people like to tell me, "Oh, you're so strong. You don't break. You are so powerful. You're so brave and you're so strong." I break every single day. Every morning that I wake up, I am in the most pain that I will be in that day. Everything's stiff, everything hurts, my head hurts, I'm dehydrated, I'm dizzy, kind of nauseous, my stomach hurts, everything hurts every morning. And every morning, I start considering quitting, not just my job, every morning. I consider giving up because living like this is not easy. So, yes, I do break every freaking day. I'm not strong because I don't break. I'm not strong because I don't hurt. I'm not strong because I'm invincible to everything. I am strong because I get back up every single time, every single day. Because even in boxing, remember, the game isn't over just because you fell on your ass. The game is not over until you stop getting up. And on that same vein, courage isn't about never being afraid. Courage is about doing the scary thing while scared. And love takes courage and resilience. You can't do love if you are afraid of getting hurt, if you are afraid of being seen. And so we fear getting hurt so much that we let it stop us from finding love, from pursuing our dreams. We fear rejection so much that we don't even try. And quite frankly, that is a waste of life because life isn't about coming out clean. Nobody comes out unscathed. We will hurt. We will suffer. But we at least get to choose what we suffer for. And when it comes to love, when it comes to matters of the heart, all of the games that people play trying to avoid getting hurt, they don't work. And I don't know why people keep thinking that it does. It will hurt. Of course it will. I remember I used to have a rat named Chucky, and I loved him so much. I bottle fed him, I raised him myself, and he lived 3 years with me. Losing him was one of the hardest things I've ever been through. Every single day, no matter how long my shift was, no matter how late I came home, even when I was dying and I had my surgery and I got out of surgery, first thing I did was crawl to the kitchen to check on him. Every single day, I made that rat dinner. Like I cooked for him. I made little eggs and everything. And I knew that the more attached I got, the more losing him was going to hurt. But would I take any of it back? Absolutely not. Because that rat, Chucky, deserved every ounce of love I gave him. And if the price of giving him the life that he deserved was me carrying loss, carrying grief, carrying pain, so be it. If the price I had to pay for the memories that I made with that little guy is the ache that I feel now, so be it. Because love isn't just about me. Withholding my love from him wouldn't have made it hurt any less. If anything, it probably would have hurt more knowing that I could have done better. So if I'm suffering either way, then I'm going to love him with everything I have, and I will feel that loss fully. But people don't love that way. They love in doses. They love in measurements, in metrics, carefully, cautiously, fearfully. And that's where we're going wrong. Because love doesn't hurt. It is the one thing in this world that doesn't hurt. What hurts is dealing with people who don't know how to love. People that are so concerned with holding the power. People that are so concerned with not getting hurt. People that are so concerned with maintaining an image that they are afraid of being seen. They run from being seen. Those people hurt people. And that's why I say every time I talk about manifestation, that you have to rise to meet what you are trying to manifest. I'm not talking about the woo woo, you have to vibrate at this frequency so that you attract stuff at this frequency. You'll attract what you attract. But what you tolerate will change as you heal, as you rise, as you grow. When you become capable of genuine connection, those games are not appealing whatsoever. People that don't know how to communicate, instantly unattractive. People that are still operating from a place of fear, so much so that they cannot see you or what you're trying to give them, will immediately lose your interest. And you will be prepared to sustain a connection with someone who is actually good for you. So when I say you rise to meet what you are trying to manifest, I'm talking about, let's say you want a 6-figure salary, you want your own office, you want a good job. Do you have the skills for it? Are you prepared to work that job? Because getting it is one thing, working it is another. Let's say you want a relationship, you want love. Are you one of those people that gets a puppy because they're really cute and then takes them back to the pound the second it shits on your furniture? Or are you one that has the capacity to sit through their terrible puppy ears until they turn 2 and settle down a little bit? Because getting into a relationship is one thing, going through the honeymoon phase is one thing. The rest of your life is another. Being in a relationship is another. Connecting with another human being is another. Do you have the room for them in your heart? Or are there still parts of you that you are still running from? Are there still parts of you that you aren't holding for yourself? Then you don't have the capacity for another person. You don't have the bandwidth for another person's pain, another person's needs. We can want connection, we can want love all we want. We can want what we want all day. But we need to stop and think if we can sustain it. Personally, I struggle with self-confidence in my appearance. I've always been the nerdy, chubby Asian girl, not conventionally attractive whatsoever. I'm awkward. I also don't really care to dress nice. I want to be comfortable. And I was always the girl that got teased in school for that. Even my own father, a lot of his abuse was based on my looks. And so that is a very, very deep wound in me. And looking back, I didn't do this intentionally, but all of my exes are very conventionally attractive people. And there was always a part of me, that voice in the back of my head, that was so scared because I didn't know why they liked me. And there were times that I would get insecure and I would sabotage it. There were times that I just wouldn't trust it. Turned out that a lot of them were really lying, cheating bastards, but that aside, my part of it, yes, I was absolutely taking out my insecurities on the other person. And I think that that little voice will always be there, but I've learned to quiet it. I've learned to tame it down because I know that I am so much more than my looks. Even on a bad day, I have learned to at least just ask for reassurance. I mean, now, on top of my insecurities about my looks, I absolutely get insecure about being disabled. There are a lot of things that I can't do that I was able to do only 4 years ago. I'm not used to this. But would it be nice to have somebody to cuddle with when I'm going through a flare up? Absolutely. But do I also know that that's going to come with a lot of me having to fight myself when I start going down that rabbit hole of self loathing because I had to cancel another date night, because I had to cut a date short, because I had to see them off to go do something by themselves or with their other friends that I can't do with them. There's going to be times like that. And I know that. Healing doesn't look like never feeling pain again. Healing looks like acknowledging your pain, holding space for your pain, understanding your pain, and making decisions independent of your pain. Because I think that that's what it is that a lot of people, they tend to get caught up in those uncomfortable feelings, those scary thoughts, and they just let it run the show. That's the subconscious leaking out sideways, as I always like to say. And so when we're coming from this vulnerable, weakened, scared, insecure place, people seem to think that love is supposed to be like this rare gem that you have to cross rivers and climb mountains for. You have to work for it. You have to earn it. And people put it on a pedestal. And people act like you have to do something to obtain it. But what is more valuable than the rarest gem in the world? What is more valuable than a one of a kind designer handbag made with Italian leather and fucking, I don't know, that gemstone from the Titanic or something? I don't know. What is more valuable than that? Hmm? Anyone? Any takers? Air. Air is more valuable than all of that because it doesn't matter how much money you have, what you look like, if you cannot freaking breathe. And air doesn't make you work for it, does it? It's just there. That's really how love is supposed to be. Both of my dogs were absolute nightmares when I first got them. Speaking of puppies, my one dog, he used to tear the house up every time I left the house for the first 3 years that I had him. Yup. Yeah. I tried everything, the radio on, the TV on, baby gates, all of it. No. At one point, he chewed up a jar of honey, and I had honey all over the kitchen. I was a broke college student at the time. I couldn't even afford to replace the stuff that he destroyed. Some of it were my textbooks. And yeah, he put me through a lot. And I look around, and sure, there are so many better dogs than either of my dogs out there. More obedient, more well behaved. I don't know. But if someone came up to me and said, "Hey, I'll give you $5 billion for your dogs," I would slam the door in their face so fast. If someone tried to forcefully take my dogs, I would rip their arms off. Why? No idea. I know there are better dogs out there, but these are my dogs. I know that there are better options out there, but I don't want them. I want my dogs. Why? No idea. No idea. Somebody asked me, "Why do you love your dog so much?" I don't know. I can't answer that question. I don't know. I mean, I could think of a million different things, like they're cute, they're sweet, they're, I don't know, they're good hearted, you know, they're funny. But ultimately, why do I love my dogs? I don't know. There is no singular reason. And even those million different reasons, it feels too thinky. And when we really, really get to the core of why I love them, I have no idea. And that is how love feels. You're not supposed to be able to answer that question. And so we overthink things and we go, "Oh, I don't feel like I'm good enough. I don't feel like I'm enough. They could do so much better." Define better. Define enough. Define not enough. Quantify it for me. What metrics are you measuring yourself based off of? How much money do you have to make before you'll feel worthy of your partner? How good do you have to look? How many reps do you have to do? How much muscle do you have to grow before you will finally feel good enough for your partner? Because I think that if you really think about it, you will come to the conclusion that that's not it. That's not it. But people operate as if it is. We go through heartbreak. What do? We go to the gym. Revenge bod is a word. If you were in a relationship with that person and, let's say they were emotionally immature, they could not communicate for crap, and the conflict had nothing to do with their appearance, it had to do with their communication skills or lack of thereof. So, no matter how defined their abs become, no matter how much they build their body, that's not going to make them any more attractive to you again, right? Because that wasn't the problem to begin with. So, obviously, that's not the solution. And people do that. They externalize both the problem and the solution. Oh, I got rejected. It must be because there's somebody better, there's somebody hotter. No, it's because you didn't connect with them on a genuine level. You faced them operating from a place of fear and insecurity. You didn't accept the love like you breathe air. You thought that it was something that you had to earn, that you had to work for. And so when they said they loved you, you questioned it. Why? 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 There's no way that they can give you a straight answer because there is no straight answer for why we love. And there's no answer that they could have given you that would have made you feel better about it. There is a fundamental lack of understanding as to what love is or what it's supposed to feel like. And that is very sad. But my point is this: you don't have to go out of your way to be loved. You just have to heal enough to accept it, to hold space for it, to hold space for connection, the good and the bad parts of it, the cute sleeping, kicking their feet, kind of barking moments, and them eating your $300 textbooks, because it comes with all of it. Love comes with all of it. You have to heal enough so that when they say that they love you, you believe it and you don't hurt them by pushing them away, running and hiding because they see you too well. You have to heal enough to be ready to be seen, because that is what love entails: to be seen fully, to be accepted fully. And you'll have to believe it when it happens. And remember, we can't choose whether or not we suffer, but we can choose what we suffer for. I'm not one that can delude myself into thinking that if I went, that it would be earth shattering and that there would be people out there completely destroyed. I'm not one that can make the excuse that I just don't want to make people sad, because I understand human resilience. I understand how strong people can be. I know the ache never goes away, but life goes on. I don't live for that. I don't live to keep people comfortable and unsad. I live because I'll be damned if I have existed all this time, if I exist through everything that I exist through, and I don't make the world at least a little bit better of a place to be for having existed in it. I live because I still do that every day in small ways. I live because I'm in love with life enough to stay through the pain that it puts me through. That's love. And I'm absolutely not talking about toxic relationships where the other person is actively hurting you, if I had to make that disclaimer at all. I'm just saying that being loved is scary too. It's painful too, because it faces us dead on with the parts of us that we are most ashamed of. It makes us face the parts of ourselves that we don't want to, with this gentle, warm light of acceptance. And that hurts too. So the question really is, would you rather suffer from the fear and the insecurity and the aftermaths of the bridges you burn from that place of fear to maintain what? Your ego, your pride, your facade? Or are you willing to suffer through the embarrassment of being loved, the humiliation of facing yourself whole, of being seen whole, the discomfort of having to convince yourself over and over and over and over and over again every single day that you are worthy of the love that you are getting, even when you don't feel like you are? Those are the questions that we need to be asking ourselves when we think about love and how nice it would be to be in it. Love is the scariest thing until it becomes the safest place we know. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I hope that this message somehow made something more clear, resonated, helped, or something. And I'll see you in the next one.